what is the kind of revenue and profits that you make?
Currently, I manage 3 properties solely by myself. If I take the average, I make it as like 1.5 to 2. When we think about Airbnb conventionally, people were aware of this idea only that they need to have a property to, start Airbnb. That's pretty much changed. The model is, in technical terms, it's called rental arbitrage. So you lease out the property on long term from an owner, and then you sublet it to people who are interested in staying there for short term. Like Airbnb is one such platform where people list their properties. That is like the cheapest. They have the lowest commission, to be honest.
How much is that?
It is
Let's break down the unit economics of Airbnb, like this 2 BHK. How would that work?
for a 3 BHK villa in South Goa. Your monthly lease is in the range of at least 80 to 95K per month. We have a tourism license that every homestay or every hotel they need to have to run it legally. Then comes the next step, which is the tricky part and which people miss out on a lot, is the place that you actually have your property in. Now, people don't really realize that society also needs
Hi, Preksha. First of all, thank you so much for welcoming us all in your beautiful place in Goa. What interested you in Airbnb business? And what is the kind of revenue and profits that you make across these projects?
Right. So currently, I manage 3 properties solely by myself, which I've taken on lease, and then I do Airbnb. So we have 3 seasons in here, right? So first is like the peak tourist season, which is from November to February. Then we have off season, which are the monsoon months, later half of June, July, and August. And then we have shoulder seasons. But if I give you an average or a rough estimate, then per property, it's during the off season, it's around 40 to 60K for 2 BHK and the villa. Okay, so 40K, you can take the average for the apartment. 60, 70K would be for the villa. And in peak season, we can make anywhere between 1 to 3 lakhs per month.
Per month.
Yeah. So that's the broader idea.
Interesting. So that makes up around, like, across the properties, that would be 3 lakhs roughly around. Right.
If I take the average throughout the year, then I make it as like 1.5 to 2.
So, Preksha, let's break down the unit economics of Airbnb, like this 2 BHK. How would that work?
For instance, this flat at this location, which is like 5 minutes from Miramar Beach, it's prime location. It has all the amenities. It has a pool with it, and it gets all the deliveries here. So this flat would typically rent out for 40K per month. That the monthly fees that I would pay.
Okay.
Right. Along those lines, you would also need to do electricity bills and all. Caretaker fees more or less remains the same for 2 BHK. The range is usually 2 to 3K. I would take the upper end for my considerations and calculating my numbers. Then you would look at laundry services. If you have an in-house laundry, like if you have a laundry, or if you have a washing machine in the apartment, it cuts down cost a lot. If you're going for an outdoor service, then your cost per check-in, per guest increases. So that is like an initial call that. So if I talk about now revenue, that how much revenue can this property project, but 2 BHK with this setup and at this location, the average daily rental I would expect would be at least 4K.
Okay.
Right. So of course the rate would increase in peak season. In Goa, in Goa Market, it goes up to 7, 8 or 9K if you are doing it well. You can bring in the, Airbnb commission fees. So
That would be, how much is the commission?
right. So it all depends from platform to platform. Like Airbnb is one such platform where people list their properties and run this model. That is like the cheapest. They have the lowest commission, to be honest. It is 3%.
Okay.
Otherwise, there are other OTAs also like Booking.com, Agoda, or VRBO and all. They have their own.
Okay. And what is the range like of commissions?
Yeah, so typically it's from 3%, that is Airbnb, to 15 or 20.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So you need to, really price your property and calculate those commissions also in your revenue that you are looking at. And the other metric that you look at while calculating revenue is your occupancy. Now, occupancy more or less stays the same throughout the industry. Now, the industry that we are looking at is the hospitality industry. So we also look at hotels that are running from a side by side, right? So it usually remains the same throughout, and it's usually around 60 to 70%.
Okay.
Right? But I take a conservative of 60%. to ensure that I should be able to meet my numbers. Right?
Throughout the year.
That's the average. Of course, it's a season market in Goa, right? So during the off season, the occupancy might go to 40-50%. Okay, during the peak season, it might go to 70-80%. So we take a average there, we get a conservative of 60% to calculate number. That this is the estimate, Karash.
Okay.
Right? 60% means that out of 30 days, 18 days would. So for my area, average daily renter of 4K with making nice book, it would give me around 72K in revenue. Now, if I take my expenses, put your up on the higher end, with 40K rent, and if I put in other 10K for calculating all salaries and all kinds of expenses, 50K also if I am able to spend, that 22K is what I'm projecting that I could make from this property partner. This is of course a rough projection, but if you optimize your costs well, like I said, if you do your laundry inside and if you buy things in bulk, then you cut down on costs a lot. If you secure more units, then your staff salaries get split. Then one person will manage one property, one flat, but if both the flats are taken, then the salary would more or less reduce. It would not double.
When you go to like villas, so I'm just curious, how much do they make? It's more or is it less than?
Okay, so villa, in all honesty, it's a tricky thing, because why do I say that? Because your startup cost there is higher. Your leverage that you're taking is quite high. For a 3 BHK villa in South Goa, your monthly lease is in the range of at least 80 to 95K per month. Right? Then your expenses also would go higher. The caretaker fees would also be higher. Your electricity bills would be high. At the same time, what I would say, the profit margin, if you're doing 1 or 2 properties, it still remains the same. It's still around like 15 to 30%. That's what you should aim for. Again, really, if a property has to work. Otherwise, if it's not making that much margin, and that property is not performing there. So it's not worth, moving along in that property. Got it. So it themselves,
And who are owning the property?
who are owning the property and running it themselves, their returns would be much higher because they would not, I'm assuming, if you do not have any high mortgage to pay, then your yield would be higher.
How much
Percentage.
the typical yield compared to if I put it on Airbnb versus I rent it out to
Right.
the general customer?
Right. So typically we see that the rental yield for a property in India, be it any market, be it any city, is around 2-3%. It's not much higher. And commercial it goes a bit higher, like 3-4%. In short-term rental, because you are doing it on per nightly basis, so not blocking it for a long term, you have much higher chances to make much more revenue, right? So your yield typically goes to 2x. So if your property has the potential to make 3% or 2% yield, so 4 to 6 is a good enough yield that you can expect if you do it on air.
One last question on the model, right? Curious to know on the location part, right? That's the first thing and the most critical thing. Do state government, state rules also play a role here, and particularly in a country like India? What's your experience been like?
So for instance, like in Goa, we have a tourism license that every homestay or every hotel they need to have. Then comes the next step, which is the tricky part and which people miss out on a lot, is the place that you actually have your property in, the society where you have your property. Now, people don't really realize that society also needs to give you consent. It's not only the owner's consent that you need to run their properties or to run Airbnb, you also need to abide by the bylaws of the society.
Through this leasing model, you've been doing it and making it your active income. So would love to get into the process of how this works. So tell us more on, the entire thing, right from selecting the right location to property, and then financing the property. Tell us more on each part of this Airbnb.
Right. The first thing that you have to understand is there any demand for short-term rental in that place? By short-term rental, it means that people who are willing to stay there for 1-2 days, 3-4 days, a week also. First thing that comes in mind in India especially is Goa, right? But Goa is a big stick. It would work anywhere, but it still might not give you as much as you are expecting when you are thinking of Airbnb. So for that, I do further analysis. I go much deeper into it. And for that, there are also tools available. But I like to do my primary research on Airbnb app itself. Okay, no. So like if somebody, he comes to me and he says that I have a property in Kolva in South Goa, then my first step would be to actually go on Airbnb and check whether there are already existing properties, the kind of property that he has come up with in Airbnb, and how are they performing.
Okay.
Right. So that would give me an idea whether this thing would work out there or not, and what are the prices that are prevalent there, and how much can I make from that thing. So that is like a broader idea, I would say, of deciding on a location if there's already existing properties
Okay.
working out well, and then how much money would that property make. So both location and property selection, that is like a broader research.
Got it. But on that note, there's always a conflict between if there's a hot spot, right? And there's also more competition. How do you balance?
Correct. Right. That is a very valid question. And I that is like the first question that would come to mind. But honestly, I look at as a balance. So competition in a market is a good indicator that a product is working well and it has a demand already. Right. But it should not also be a scenario where there are too many of your competitors that you would have to work extra hard or you would have to pay so much to stand up. So it's a matter of balance that you have to look at, that how are the other properties performing. If we talk about Airbnb only, how are the other properties performing and how much can you put in the effort to make your thing stand out, and what would be your magics, right? For instance, like everybody is going to North Goa and everybody would be like, when they think of Goa, they would go to North Goa. Even for starting a business, they would want to go to North Goa. However, there your investment from your end to the startup cost would be higher. At the same time, a place which has untapped potential that would still have the demand, but the efforts required for you to make it work there would be lesser. That is why that was one of the key factors why I decided to actually go in South Goa only, because I could see that the demand would be there. I would still get the guests.
How do you price your Airbnb? Right? Like this is like running your Airbnb is your product, right?
Correct.
How do you do the pricing of this product?
Honestly, if you think of the whole Airbnb thing, you have to look at the market. You have to look how your similar kind of properties are performing, and then you understand how will it work up the market. So for instance, I take the example of the 2 BHK apartment that I started off with. When I listed it, I firstly went to that location of my property where that was located. I went to that location. I saw other properties there with similar kind of amenities, a society with a pool, and there would be Wi-Fi, there would be TV. Second point is you also have to assess the market conditions. Like for instance, Goa is a seasonal market, right? You have peak season, you have off season, you have lean season. So your pricing needs to be in accordance with the market conditions. For instance, like in peak season, if your property is priced too low, then you would be missing out on potential revenue.
Yes.
And in that also, if you miss out on important dates, you would be missing out on revenue. At the same time, if there is not much demand in the market and still you are pricing your property at like 10K, there would be no one coming, right? So it's a game that you have to play. You have to be constantly, checking the market condition. You have to constantly see how much people, how many queries you're getting, and then adjust.
Right. So it's very dynamic. So are there certain tools that can help in dynamic?
Definitely. For instance, you have Price Labs, which helps you in the dynamic pricing of your property. And there is also AirDNA, which gives you a broader idea of how the market is.
Okay.
However, like at the same time, I would point out that you should not really rely on these tools blindly, because sometimes these tools may or may not have enough data to give the correct information to you. So my experience with Price Labs has been really good. They would help you automate like 70% of your business, to be honest, and that would save a lot of work.
Preksha, this was like a full masterclass on how to start this business. So thank you so much for sharing that. And as I was saying, right, you're building this business in your active years and building this out of Goa for the last 3 years. Would love to know more on, how life has been here in Goa.
So it's been really amazing. It's been adventurous, and I'm sure you're on and tell you more about it.
Absolutely. Let's do that. Let's go.
All right, yeah, sure.
So, Preksha, a bit about your career journey.
Right. So it's been a very adventurous ride about my career and trying my hands on a couple of things. I am currently doing 3-4 income streams. My main primary income stream is managing the startup and I'm influencer.
Disha, you mentioned that your active source of income, which was, managing the influencer, was what helped you get that financial cushion
Yes.
to start this business. So tell us more on the financial planning. How did you plan? How much were you investing and saving back then that helped you, launch your own business?
So right now, if I give you a rough percentage on the income that I make, 50% I invest in stock market or any growth instruments. Given I'm staying in Goa, my expenses are way lesser than it would have been if I had rented a place in Delhi or any kind of tier 1, tier 2 city. So my expenses are usually 20 to 30% of my income, and the rest is what I completely allocate to my business.
Okay. So, Priya, usually, when I do these videos, right, I often talk to people who are financially free. They are like their retirement corpus sorted. But as I see your lifestyle and, your life here, that's also freedom, right? The freedom of time. What's your take on financial freedoms?
So for me, I think financial freedom is not only a number that I would want in my bank account. For me, it is a path or it is a way or a lifestyle that I would want to attain to work on things that I really want to do. It is not something which makes me think that, okay, now I don't want to work, because I know that if I reach that stage, I would still be bored. So I would still want to work. But having some kind of surety or some kind of reassurance that I can do things which I want to do. For example, start a business and live in Goa or live in, I don't know, maybe some other country. That is what financial freedom holds meaning for me.
I think very interesting take here. And I think last question, and I think it will be the perfect note to wrap this conversation on is, do you think Airbnbs or like this Airbnb business could be a way to someone's financial freedom?
That's a very interesting question, and my answer to that is definitely a yes. However, it comes with an asterisk with it. So, Airbnb is a concept which I personally really like, but my advice would be to start it off as a side hustle and know if it is the right fit for you. And then, if you are interested in it, work on it, build it up, and seek your freedoms.
Right.
So that would be my take.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Preksha. I had such a great time. And Goa is always good. So,
Definitely. It's always good. It welcomes everyone.
yes, thank you so much.